Ooh, right, here we are again. So, I did a live yesterday and I was cutting out these designs, and as you can see we've got quite a few all ready to go now, so they've just got to be made into either badges, which means using this backing here. I'm having to check each one because some of these are a bit dodgy. I do some repairs on them. And if I want a fridge magnet, I use this backing, which is the same thing really, but with a magnet on it. And so that's how it comes from the thing. So if I was to make a badge, which I'm going to do, that goes in there. And then this is the little metal backing yoke. And that goes in there. Then you've got the actual design. Now, you need this kind of cover, see-through cover, which is called mylar. This is called mylar, so this is the other element to all of this. It's all complicated stuff, folks. So that goes there. Make sure it's clean. You don't want any hairs or anything in there. I'm still using my vegan mug, but I've washed it up since then. Well, you can't tell. Right, and so this little thing is where all the magic happens, because you put that into the design part of it, and then you make this like a top hat. That's what it said on the instructions, the top hat. So that lies on there, and you swing that around the press, and you press it down. Now it's not a real problem there. That's just to kind of embed it really, so you don't need any force that much. And you bring this back round again, and now it's embedded into there, and you've got this kind of crinkle kind of effect. So that's the thing that's going to wrap around the badge thing itself. So then you fit that into there. So now it's stood on top of the base, and this time you turn the top hat around to, and so it does its like crimping effect. Now this is where a little bit of force is needed, because you kind of go down there, but then you've got a last kind of push, and I just kind of hold it for a little while. You can make these quite quickly. I tend not to really, because I want to make sure that they're good, you know, good quality, and so a little bit of care is the order of the day. Here's the ones that I started making last night, so we're getting a good selection. These ones are for the vegan gala that we're going to a week today. We're going to a vegan gala, and we should be selling these, and a few not your ma, not your milk t-shirts. Hopefully we've still got a few. See, I made a mistake then. I'll put two of these little things in there. You've got to be careful to separate them out. Easier said than done sometimes, so you've got to do that. Right, so that goes back in there. Animals have feelings too. Yes, this is all very true. Animals have feelings. Well, we should know that because we're animals and we have feelings. So I guess if you wanted to specify, you'd have to say other animals had feelings, wouldn't you really? I know there's a lot of people out there in TikTok land who probably doesn't like the idea that we are animals, but that is in fact what we are. We are a type of animal. We're a primate. We're a great ape. Or sometimes when you look around what we're doing to the planet, a not so great ape. So that's that one not made up. Now, I'm just going to have a look at the other side of this screen just to see about comments and everything, and if it's still going and all that malarkey, because I can't see the comments as they come in. So sorry about that. I won't really be able to interact with you too well. Okay, so let's go for a fridge magnet then. So that just pops in. essentially it's the same thing. Now, the difference there really is that I have to be a bit more careful with the designs, because people don't necessarily want the too political stuff on the fridges, perhaps. The Be Vegan one is pretty good for the fridge. This Justice Peace Veganism, that's good. And our very popular little red heart is always good. But I'm going to do the Justice Peace Veganism, probably because I just put up a short and a Twitter and all that about the fact that often people, when they encounter a vegan, they kind of think, oh, you're the people who are kind of against everything. And it is true that sometimes if you go up to a vegan stall or a vegan video demonstration, then the vegans might say, oh yeah, we're against this, we're against that, and they might give you a list of kind of single issues. We're against eating other animals, we're against hunting, we're against circuses and this kind of stuff. I tend to think that's a bit negative, so I always talk about what we're in favor of, what we're pro. So as you can see, these are the fridge magnets already done. You can tell they're fridge magnets because they stick to each other, which is pretty groovy. So they're actually easier to kind of manage and kind of deal with than the badges, in actual fact. So still haven't worked out. I mentioned yesterday that the cost of the components have gone up. So I'm still not quite sure what to charge for these. Oh yeah, I was in the middle of it saying that when we go into the gala, we can actually just blatantly put these are €1 or these are €2, whatever we're going to decide. When you're on the street, you can't do that. So what you're allowed to do is you're allowed to say that you'll accept a donation. So you're not selling them, you're swapping them for a donation. Of course, sometimes you get some jokers coming up and going, oh, okay, well, I'll give you 5 cents, And when they do that, just hold it for a second. When you do that, you just say, well, in that case, I refuse your donation. You don't, if you're an NGO, social movement organization, you don't have to accept a donation. I'm sure some charities have stopped refused donations from some dodgy people. Although I bet some have accepted some donations from dodgy people as well. Right. This is a popular one for the fridge, not food. We do have a whole series of those, but they're not been printed out yet. We had to go and buy some new ink. We used to have a deal. When we were on the street, 3 times a week from 2013 through to, well, COVID. And it was either 2 or 3 times a week. At the end, it was 3 times. Did I put the mine on that? No. That's another thing that you've got to be careful of, is not forget to put the cover, because it still make a badge. It's just that it's no good then, because this is obviously what keeps them dry. And if you don't do that, then as soon as it rains, people's badges will start to run. The reason for that is that we just use photocopies. It's not kind of officially printed out type of thing. It's all very DIY with the Vegan Information Project, which is one thing that we actually like. And the public seem to like it as well. We were talking about, yesterday on another live, we were talking about, we often would have these zines. We used to have a whole series of them. And the great thing about zines, this is just an A4 piece of paper. But it kind of is like a booklet that you read like this. Then you open the booklet out, or the page out, and you twist it the other way around, and then you can kind of got another booklet with part 2, as it were. These are really kind of cool. This one's not that well made, which is probably the reason why I still got it. But if you see that, it's got 8 panels, and there's a split there in those middle ones there, and that creates the zine effect. And people really love them when you show them how to work them. They're intrigued by them. And of course, if you get a bigger piece of paper, you can end up with an A5 zine, the same effect. It's just that the finished product, of course, is bigger. So there's that. You see, that one's a bit dodgy. You have to push. Yeah, I have to talk to the supplier, because sometimes the thing that hooks the pin is too far that way, and so the pin could easily pop off, and you can't really afford that. It's not good for that. So you have to push that back in, but that's just another thing that slows you down. And some of them are so bad, it can hardly be done. That one there is really bad, so I'm going to have a look at that. That's just a waste, in other words, what we're doing here. Have you got something in there already? Losing track of what I'm doing here now. Well, I finished this. Oh, I have, yeah. Didn't even notice. Right, so that's another fridge magnet. Talk about not being able to walk and chew gum. I can't talk and make badges. So, there you go. Right, another metal base. There is an advantage, instead of photocopying these, there is an advantage of going to a print shop and getting them printed out, which is that it's more vivid, you know. Now, something went wrong there. I don't know what it was. Oh yeah, I really am messing up here. I have to concentrate more. Right. Well, that one is an indoor badge because I've forgotten the goddamn plastic on it. So that's over there. Yeah, really is a problem that I can't talk and make badge at the same time. Right, that in there. Concentrate now. Check that, that's okay. That goes in there. Design. Go for the Be Vegan. This is an interesting one. We don't have many of those, but they're quite popular. The World in an Eye. Aye. Right, that goes in there. I explained last time that you don't have to have a complete circle of paper, just so long as you've got it's big enough, or you know, it's big enough to cover the actual badge making part of it. Right, Mylar. Let's not forget the Mylar this time. Okay, that goes in there. Well, after I've made this one, I'll have a quick look at the comments, see if anything is happening there. We'll see if anyone's watching even, which, if my usual lives go by anything, there will be very few, if any, at all. Right, hold it down, pinch it. A couple of seconds just to let it kind of really bend round that bit of plastic there, because that's the bit that holds it all together. They're quite good, really. Also, depending on the way that you have it, you can have the badge going across, so you put the badge on that way. I tend to like to put the badge so you put it on that way. So if it did pop open, it's still maybe just going to stay until you notice. Whereas if it's like that, it's going to come off whatever it is, because a lot of people like to put these on things like bags and stuff. And obviously, usually if it's a shoulder bag, then it's going to be behind them, so it's no good for that to pop off then. Right, let's have a quick look at the comments, if there is any. Hey Andy, how you doing? Vegan Beans Love, hello there. I made that one. No, you didn't. I just did it. You just saw me do it. I made it. Oh, yo, I know what you mean. Yes, you mean, yes. Yes, credit where it's due. Vegan Means Love designed that. And we have a whole series of not food ones. As I said, we haven't had any printed. I'll have to do that. I'm going off somewhere to get some printed during the week. And hopefully the originals will be in our packet, so we'll be able to get some more of those, because they're very popular. Not food. Right, Myla, don't forget the Myla. Right, there we go. That goes in there. The top hat comes around. Ka-chunk. That's the noise it makes, ka-chunk. And then that goes in there, and then top hat reversed, which creates the pinching effect. And this is where you need a bit of force. In fact, I've got two hands in there. So that's doing it then. But then, I don't know if you can see that bit, but then that's got to just go in a little bit. And what I do then is just hold it for a couple of seconds, just to kind of give it time to kind of almost grip the plastic, you know. I think it's, you know, when I was a lad, back in Yorkshire, we were told that if you're going to do a job, it's worth doing well. So there you go. Ecky thump. I don't suppose I can even speak Yorkshire anymore. I probably wouldn't be allowed in. I think you probably need a passport to get into Yorkshire nowadays. Right, what we're going to do, that one's a good one. Vegan because I give a shit. Push back with all your strength. That's a nice one. Be vegan. Okay, we'll have another be vegan one. This is a fridge magnet. This is the last but second bit of Myla. I've got 150 somewhere else. I'm going to find them. So, right, that goes in there. Top hat. Spin that around. Ka-chunk. Comes around again. Line him up. Oh, this is a badge. It's not a. Yeah, it's not a fridge magnet. Okay. So, and then that pinch there. Hold it a couple of seconds, just to let it fully kind of, you know, I don't even know what to call it. Crimp itself around the plastic, I suppose. Right, now we'll go for a fridge magnet. So, fridge magnet. I'll do a be vegan one again. So if you come to the vegan gala in Galway next Sunday, you'll be able to get a t-shirt, a badge and a fridge magnet. I know, try and contain the excitement, I know. Trying to contain the excitement. Right, here we go. Upside down top hat. And it's the same with the fridge magnet. You've got to just let it do that little bit of crimping, which is always a useful thing. So there you go. And that clunk. Oh, that's another thing. Sometimes I've had these from the supplier where the magnet has been put on the wrong way. And so when you know, it doesn't sing. So I usually test it just in case, because if that is the case, what you've got to do is you've got to prise that off with a screwdriver and then glue it the other way around. Otherwise, it ain't going to work as a magnet. On the grounds that it's a fridge magnet, you need it to work. Not food. This one is good for a fridge magnet. You do tend to get little bits of hairs and little strands of paper and stuff. You see that? That's from the cutting process, so you're going to be careful. All right, Myla. We're out of Myla now. Where did I put my Myla? Must be in there. Myla. There you go. Oh, a big bag of it. That's going to last forever, that. funny actually, because at the end of the process, you always end up with some components over because, you know, individual parts get damaged or you've messed up or something and all that, and so you always end up with a few different things over. There we go. Top hat. Well, everyone was waiting for me to go ka-chunk then. Bated breath, I could tell. There we go. The film you can see on the screen, by the way, is called Century of the Self, which is really powerful documentary. Quite disturbing. It's about the manipulation of the masses, starting with Sigmund Freud's nephew, Bernays, who's a bit of a character. So that's worth looking for. Century of the Self. It's actually 4 hours longer. It's actually four 1 hour documentaries. So it's this one that's on is actually all the 4 stuck together. So you could just completely zonk out and watch it for 4 hours if you wanted to. And it goes right from Sigmund Freud right up to Tony Blair and Ronald Reagan. There you go. Wallop. Top hat. There we are. I said you can do these quicker than I do. I'm fairly slow, but like I said, I like to be careful. So I'm looking at any comments. Oh, Rooch, you're right. Need to make a cuppa, yes. I love Red Bush tea, which is what's in this cup right here. Maybe if I pour it into the top of the phone, everybody can. That'd be weird, wouldn't it? If that happened, if that was even a possibility, it'd change the internet completely. That wouldn't it? Right, another badge. So I'll go push back with all your strength. See, that's a slogan for a badge, but it doesn't really make sense to have it on your on your fridge, does it? Push back with all your strength because the door of the fridge is difficult to close. So it doesn't quite fit. And I suppose wearing this, you wouldn't want anybody to come up and push you, would you, either? So maybe I'm just talking my way out of the utility of it being a badge or a fridge magnet. Right. We've not had any complaints so far. Then wouldn't call that a bestseller either, to be honest. Back to, yeah, that's just about okay. Now this one's a good slogan. People might know what that is. That's vegan anarchy, or vegan anarchist sign, because there are some anarchic values embedded into vegan philosophy. One I mentioned in a recent video, in fact I think posted up today, was the fact that what a vegan will do is ask of whatever we're talking about, is that just? Is that a just thing to do? And that's what an anarchist should do. You know, I want to do X, but am I justified doing X? Is it a justified thing? So vegan anarchy, and of course for both of them, it's kind of justice before profit. you could apply to both veganism and anarchy. Of course, a lot of people mistake the word anarchy to mean chaos, which it doesn't really. But some people who don't like it say it's that, but it's not. This one's food for all. Goes there. Top hat. Reverse top hat. This design is quite cute actually, because I don't know if you can see it. It says food for all, but at each side of the four is a knife and fork. I don't know if you can see that. I'm lining these things up. I can't really see what's going on from this angle. There, isn't it? There, middle of the screen. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, actually, it's not easy to be in the middle of the screen, isn't it? That's middle of the screen there. I have to remember. I need to be about this area. Okay. Right, another fridge magnet. I've got an urge for a fridge magnet, so we'll do the popular design again. These are going to go like vegan hotcakes next week. I can feel it in my water. Right, all up on there. Top hat. Down there. Then reverse top hat. Then pull down and just hold for a couple of seconds. It's not exactly commercial production line speed. I have worked on production lines. I worked at Ford's in the famous Dagenham plant of Ford's in Essex. That was a hell of a job. This is a very popular design, vegan proud. A lot of people like that. All the non-vegans are going, have you got any that say vegan arrogant? Right, now then, we're going to put this into a badge. It's okay, yeah, that's all right. So a lot of time is just taken up really, just to make sure that the components are okay. No point in putting together a badge with anything that's not really quite right, otherwise you've kind of wasted 5 different things in one go, you know. So that's all right, that's another badge. Goes in there. So normally we've got a badge display, which is actually over there behind the camera, you can't see it, but it's kind of like double the size of that screen, so it's pretty big. So that's the amount of badges I'm aiming for. So because I do them slowly, or in my translation, because I do them carefully, I'm going to have to do some every single day until next Sunday. This is one of the McDonald's ones. These are very popular. We've got McDeath, we've got McShit, and then there's one which I don't have here, I don't think, but it's a person laying down, being sick, and the vomit is in the kind of golden arches shape. And the slogan is, I'm vomiting it. Interesting, really, because of the generational divide now within veganism. My generation of vegans wouldn't ever go near McDeath's place. Unless we went to the toilet with some quick drying cement, but we certainly wouldn't go there voluntarily to buy any of the shite that they pretend is food. And but some modern day vegans they will promote Mac shit because of the plant-based options that are available, and their reasoning is quite reasonable. It's kind of, well, you know, these places are very popular, sadly. Junk food is very popular, again, very sadly. So, you know, if you can get people to at least have the plant-based option when they go into places like Macbeth, that's all the better. These are quite funny. This is kind of almost inspired by Spike Milligan, who's my favourite comedian, and it was on his tombstone. He had the slogan, "I told you I was ill." So I thought this was kind of similar kind of sentiment. I'm fine. So this is a fridge magnet again, and so we're going to go for "Eat the Rich," which is really popular phrase. That's obviously it's a kind of anarchist slogan. Be interesting, that, wouldn't it? If you start to eat the rich, then when do you stop? Because I suppose you'd end up then with the very poorest person eating everybody else. But I'm sure the idea will be to have stopped by then. All right, crimp it down and hold it. Yeah, Century of the Self is what that is. No, these are the damaged ones. There we go. All right, just do a couple more for this live, and then carry on at my leisure. So I don't have any pressure that I've actually got to talk. But then again, I don't suppose I do anyway. This one's a very popular one, actually, even though it's not easy to read. This one says, "Fix your heart, live vegan." Now that's interesting in the sense that the "live vegan" slogan for some vegans is better than "go vegan." A lot of non-vegans don't like "go vegan." It's almost like, you know, an injunction, an order. And so some vegans prefer slogans like "live vegan" or even "be vegan." And that's why we've got that "be vegan" badge as well, because I think there is something in that. I think "go vegan," I mean, there's kind of nothing that wrong with it. It's just that it does kind of wind some people up, as though you're giving them orders. And of course, people don't like to be told what to do. And especially when they translate it to "be told what to eat." Because sadly, a lot of people will think that veganism is a diet, which it isn't. And we do know sociologically that people are very conservative about their diets. So, yeah. So that kind of all comes together with people being resentful of vegans who are telling them what to eat. And really, we're trying to expound a philosophical position, but admittedly that philosophical position will tell people what to eat. So the in other words, the diet aspect of veganism follows the philosophy. It's not the other way around. The philosophy always comes first. It's kind of once you know why, then you'll find a way of how, that kind of idea. Right, here we go. This is the last of the fridge magnets, Total Liberation. There's a great speech on YouTube called Total Liberation by Steve Best from 2013, Luxembourg. That is a really powerful talk about alliance politics. Right, people. If I can find the button to turn this off, I think I will. So thanks for joining me. And it's all going to go a bit wobbly now because I've got to take this off this little clamp. Hang on. Yep. No, that's not done it. There we go. There we go. Right. Bye-bye.